Привет.
Hello.
Servus.
Marhaba.
Hola.
Hello.
I'm inspired that there's so many people working to accomplish the same goal of creating a connected future.
By having students lead clubs on campus directly supported by Google developers, that's the best way to reach out to students.
It's really inspirational always to hear about members of the community who echo your values and echo your beliefs.
I've been listening more than I've been speaking, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I'm just getting all these ideas.
Google, it needs to reach a wider audience and be more relatable as a company, and I think Google is one of the brands that is very good at doing that.
Hello. Welcome. Let me share my screen. So hello, welcome. I'm super excited to have everyone join us. Hopefully you can hear me. To start in the chat, I would love to hear where you guys are tuning in from. So say hello, say your name, and also introduce yourself, and say what your current favorite song is, because I'm really curious. Personally, for me, I'm really into some Bazzy songs at the moment. So yeah, definitely comment in the chat and introduce yourself. So I'll give a couple seconds so that delay. So yeah, so now we can start. So welcome to the Developer Student Club U of T info session. So today we'll be talking about what DSC is, what we do, and why you should join us. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll get to know DSC some more, sign up to participate in the exciting initiatives we have planned, and to start. So who is behind the Developer Student Club, University of Toronto, St. George chapter this year? So before I introduce my team, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Chloe. I'm the DSC lead here at U of T St. George campus. I'm currently studying engineering science at the University of Toronto and have a passion for entrepreneurship and emerging tech. So throughout the summer, I got to work with some startups and also learn more about machine learning and AI. Personal preference, but I love front-end development. So being able to design and create and be creative while creating like a website or app is always super exciting for me. So my role here at DSC involves coordinating and planning the events at U of T, but also, of course, I have a team of talented and experienced individuals behind all of these initiatives that I'm excited to introduce. So first is outreach. So this involves our technical directors, Vishnu and Gabriel, who coordinate the workshops here at DSC, our events director, Kavya, who helps coordinate the events and meetups around DSC, and Kamal, our first-year representative focused in bringing in first-year's perspective in DSC initiatives, and she also will be leading her own initiatives focused for first years. As I'm introducing each member of the executive team, I invite them to say hello and introduce themselves in the chat and currently say some more details that I am missing. But yes, hype. Next is marketing. So this involves our marketing directors, Mazzy and Ashley, who are behind DSC's social media and online presence. As well, behind the amazing posts are Shahan and Samreen, our graphic designer. As well, sharing the stories of our community here at U of T is our content writer, Shista. Next is our operations team, Jose, who's behind our finances, Zohaib, our web developer, who's behind the creation of our website, Sales, our research director, who is continuously seeking new resources, opportunities, and news and technology to share with the community. And lastly, Ethan, our external relations director. As well, I'm excited to introduce our guest speaker today, Madhusha.
Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for having me. You all can hear me clearly? Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. So before I get started, so Chloe, they keep asking about, they're coming up with some songs and everything. So I'm going to highlight a few here. So I don't know if you want to help me out here.
Ooh. Wow. That's so, what's the time difference? I'm so curious. There's so many different.
I think he's listening for, I think this is his song list, so, which is good. And we have Komal listening to Soho by Jaden Smith. Ahead of it.
Jaden Smith.
Okay. Generation gap. And then who else? We have Kyle from Scarborough and Ferris right now, probably Shiver is there, but okay, awesome. So this is good. We want to get more engagement going on. Before I jump into my presentation, Chloe, you're welcome to hang out. What I would say is I would like to know what everybody else is studying. So if you can put a comment on what you're studying in school, whether it's computer science, engineering, let me know so I can cater my presentation accordingly. And even like what grade you guys all are, first year, second year. So we always had I personally had a great relationship with the University of Toronto. We had 3 chapters who Scarborough, UTM, and St. George. I personally went to most of the events before. This is pre-COVID. This is last year. That being said, let me quickly jump into my presentation and introduce myself. So I'm one of the community managers from Google supporting this initiative called Developer Student Clubs. I'm part of a huge team. We have about 140 people. We're working on different initiatives. And I also support another program called Google Developer Experts. So I'm going to quickly walk you through a few things here. So your lead, as Chloe resides here, we do take a code of conduct seriously. So I know we're going to be running all these events online, but still, be nice to each other because we want to respect everybody's backgrounds, where they're coming from, what experiences they have, and sometimes you're going to bump into people who might not have the same vision as you, but try to be respectful for that. So we always try to highlight these elements through all our community programs. So that being said, I want to tell you a story as to how Chloe became the DSC lead. And that being said, we had a blast. So we opened up applications. We had thousands and thousands of students apply to become leads on their prospective campuses. So globally, we have about 1,300 chapters. These are university chapters, and in North America, that's English-speaking North America, Canada, and the US, we have about 150 chapters. And we had to go through all the applications, and they had to send in a personal video about them. So this is one of my favorite clips from one of our leads from golf. Let's mute it. Hold on. No, I tested this. Anyways, let me try this again. No. Okay, I'm gonna skip. Unfortunate, but I'm gonna skip. So to give a quick recap, so we had conversations with them, then we interviewed them, then we added to our a Slack channel, and we have other communication channels with all these leads. They went through some of our trainings, and then we ran a summit. During the summit, they did a lot of hands-on work on brand, web presence, how do you represent the community, and what we expect from them. And then we also realized some of them already had connections with other DSE leads, and so on. So then we gave them access to a lot of our content, and we had some exclusive portals that we set up for them to use so they can teach and engage with you all. So that being said, so why and why are we doing this, right? So you all know what Google is as a search engine, but we have so many other elements and layers to it. So for example, I don't know whether you all know, we have close to 9 different products that touch 1 billion people on average every month. Now just imagine how big that is, 1 billion people. So to give you an example, North America and South America combined is about 1 billion people, and that represents close to 35 different countries. And then they all speak more than a dozen languages, covers 9 different time zones. Now that's just the demographics of it. Then on top of that, just imagine how they interact with technology. Not everybody is an Android user. I'm an iPhone user. I'm a Mac user personally. There are others who are maybe using Linux, different types of browsers, different types of versions of devices. Maybe some of them are on flip phones still, who have a like old school browser working on them. Then we have different industries who are interacting with our technologies. Now, just imagine trying to support all these different nuances as Google, and it's not going to be possible to do that. So that's why we invested a lot of time and energy into build these communities. So we knew we couldn't do all this alone. So then we created this initiative called Google Developers. It's a huge branch which we are a part of. And as you can see, so Developer Student Clubs is associated with Google Developers. So Google Developers are the ones who run Cloud Next, Google I/O, all those key events that that we represent, that you're probably familiar with, that we're running. And now we have a smaller branch dedicated to supporting university students like yourself. And people who work here, we have our own battle scars. So for example, for me, my story was, I was a mechanical engineer at BlackBerry. Then I started seeing the wave of applications coming out. So me and friends of mine started building applications for mobile. Unfortunately, we picked the wrong stacks because at the time, we didn't know who's going to win. There were so many platforms coming out. Apple was very new. Android was never very new. BlackBerry itself had its own ecosystem. We did okay. I think we had like 2.5 million downloads and a little over 100,000 daily active users. But the issue was we didn't have a community. So we had to figure everything ourselves. So when a little change, a little bug comes, forums were not saturated or mature enough like it is today. We didn't know who to talk to. We had to figure a lot of things out ourselves, and we were experimenting a lot ourselves. So then the second company I was involved with, we did about 10 million downloads on applications. That was more geared towards mobile gaming. Then I had some battle scars to prove, and then there was another learning curve as to how to monetize things on these new ecosystems coming through. So after that, I took a stint at one of the incubators here, and I worked with about 2,500 entrepreneurs. And then I flipped a coin and I went to the finance side and supported them raising capital. But then the issues were the same, where all these companies and founders and entrepreneurs coming through our doors, and they have similar questions and they didn't have a network to reach out to. So I ended up building this network myself. And we had, at the time, I had about 30,000 people who are entrepreneurs and mentors, investors who knew things. So I understood the template as to what needed to be done when you are in an innovative ecosystem, trying to support individuals like yourselves who want to build things. So then when Google reached out and said, hey, would you like to be a part of our ecosystem? That was a great match. So that's what brought me here. And supporting two initiatives like you. So our process is very simple. And what I mean by that is, so you know why we're doing this. You see the mission behind it is as to what it is. So we have this 1 to 50 many approach. 1 being us, few being our DSC leads, and many being you all members. As you can see, we're sending out content, we're sending out workshop, we want to collaborate with you on different things. As you can see, the arrow goes both ways. That's because we also want to hear what kind of ideas you have, things that we missed that we should incorporate into our technologies, processes or things that we're trying to incorporate into how we're trying to solve some of these big problems. And maybe you also bring up other problems and ideas that we never even thought about. So keep that in mind. And this is why it's very important. And that's why I highlighted how we picked your leads and how often we are in touch with them. So they are your go-to people if you want to bring up anything and then collaborate. So it's not going to be a one-way stream. It's going to be both ways. So keep that in mind. So I want to talk a little bit about some of our sister organizations. So we have now in Toronto, I think we have 3 different chapters. We have Google Developer Groups, and they have a similar mission. They want to help connect and help teach and learn and grow anybody who's interested in getting into technology. And then we have about, I think, close to more than 1,000 chapters globally, covers 137 countries. They do more than 7,000 events coming up. I think October 16th, 17th, 15th, 16th, 17th, there's going to be a global event stream called DevFest. If you have the time, tune in. I know one of the chapters in Toronto, they're planning a huge one in November. I'm more than happy to make an introduction. You can they're always looking for help. Great bunch of guys. DSC lead, obviously. So that's one program we're very proud of. So compared to DSC, it would be like a city-based community. It was mainly meetup groups, but now it just evolved into something bigger. And then the second initiative is we also support a lot of diversity initiatives globally, and Women Tech Makers is one of them. Take a look at it, and there are thousands of other initiatives that we're supporting too. So this is one of them that I'd like to highlight. Chloe will share more information about this as well. And then the other program I'm very excited and proud to be a part of is the Google Developer Experts initiative. So we realized, like, as I said, there are smart people everywhere. Not everybody works for Google. And some of them are very fond of our technologies, and they're very well versed of our technologies. So these are expert levels who we collaborate with. We ask them to beta test some of our technologies, as well as, so in return, they help us with workshops. So they're the ones who go to different communities and do workshops and presentations and mentor the up and coming new generation of developers. So great initiative. I'm super proud of that and what we accomplished so far. So yeah, we have about 800 plus members globally. North America has the biggest, which is very proud to do, brag there. And then they do, so if you ever ask a question on Stack Overflow about Google Tech, there's an 80% chance that one of them is responding to some of those questions. And their reputation on Stack Overflow is like way up there. And then, so keep that in mind. So when we bring these experts to do talks, they know what they're talking about. So where do you all fit in? So as I mentioned, so this is Google Developer Groups, Women Tech Makers, and other diversity initiatives that we have. And then we have Google Developer Experts. And we see you being the next generation of leads who are going to lead Google Developer Groups, becoming W Team and other initiative leaders, as well as experts in our community. And again, arrows go both ways. I know GDG leads who are WTM members or leads who are GDEs as well. So keep that in mind. So why you're all here, now you know where you fit in and know what you're going to do and what you're going to learn. Our mission is very simple. If I were to boil it down into a few points, we want to make sure that you all are aware of all these technologies that are available. Now, when I say technology, it's not necessarily what Google has to offer, but the concept of technology. Because when you go into the workforce, you're going to touch all these different tools and services. It might not be coming from the same vendor, but we want you to be comfortable with it. We want you to be confident about it. You might be a business student. I know some of them said finance student here. You might be crunching numbers on Excel or Google Sheets or whatever that is. And then if I were to show you how to, let's say, scrape some of the data from the stock market or somewhere else, and then automate it a little bit using Python, and then it might help you save so much time at your work. At the same time, you're upskilling yourself, and now you have a different skill set that you can present to your prospective employers. So that's a big thing. Now, the thing is, not a lot of students don't get exposed to all these. So we want this to be a vehicle to kind of get them exposed to the different things that are happening in the world. And then we want to make sure that you have accessibility to some of these tech. So when we run a cloud study jam, you get access to GCP, Google Cloud Platform, for the hour dedicated. You're working on the cloud, which is live, which is accessible for that hour. So you're not going through a simulator, you're not going through a presentation, you're actually playing around with the real thing. And then we want to educate, so we want to teach. We're going to send you content. We're going to get some of our developer experts to come and do things. We're planning some exciting events coming up. Chloe is going to mention a little bit later. And then overall, you learn all these things and you go build some crazy things with it. And that's what I'm always passionate about. So you saw, as I shared my background, what I built and what I wanted and who I interacted with, I always like things being built. I'm a builder. I have the builder DNA in me. So super excited to see this. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our solution challenge, which kind of like gives you an idea what that would be. So in summary, so you're going to set up the club, you're going to grow the existing, and then we're going to build a membership. We're going to lead some workshops. Then we're going to build projects. Then some of those projects will be hosted in a showcase. So we want to do like chapter-wise, regional-wide, country-wide, and then some of those projects can be submitted as a solution challenge, global challenge submissions as well. So what is Solution Challenge? So it's an annual contest. It's going to be open starting January till the end of March, April. And you can start building your project right now. Rules will be shared later down the road. And then what we do is we select the top 10. Hopefully this video works. And then you get to present it to the rest of the world. So we did last year's session was online. Chloe will share the link one of these days through Discord or other communication method. Let's check this video out. So that's a quick overview of Solution Challenge. So we used to fly in the teams to California, the winning teams, but they said they couldn't do it. So it was all done virtually. Some great ideas we saw this year as well. So what's the benefit of being a DSC lead, a DSC member? There's no membership fees. You get to work on some real world projects, collaborate with new people, build your network, right? And then you're gonna boost your skills. Then you get to build connections with other groups like GDGs and GDEs. And then through our cloud study jams and things like that, you get little certifications, badges that you can display, you can share. Hopefully that will give you more recognition and then other developer resources. And most importantly, you'll give us more feedback from your perspective, which we're really looking forward to hearing. So it's, yeah, one last thing. I know it sounded very serious, very professional, but we want to make sure that everything you do through the clubs and anything with the club, that you have enough time to have fun. So if you're not having fun, there's no point in doing all this. So keep that in mind. That being said, that's all the time I have, and I'm happy to take any questions. Welcome to submit your question at the bottom on the chat, and we're going to highlight some of those questions and answer some. In the meantime, I'm going to hand it over back to Chloe.
Thank you so much. I love that. So now we're going to talk about specifically for the University of Toronto St. George campus and what we're going to be doing this year. So we have a lot planned, but of course the slide barely covers it all. So here are the initial workshops and talks you have in mind for the DSC. So we hope to have multiple different workshops teaching skills in Google Cloud, Android, web apps, and more. And we will be hosting Google Study Jams, Code Labs, and Cloud Hero workshops, from which we can get free access to Quick Labs, credits, and other Google resources. Lastly, our large network, as Madhusha was saying, can allow us to bring in experts to help give talks and workshops in specific tech areas that members are looking for. And so I've talked a lot already about DC and also Madhusha. And now we want to hear what you all have to say. So in the chat, we here at DSC want to know what you are most excited to learn about when joining DSC. So we'll give a couple seconds especially for delay. So comment in the chat, tell us what you are most excited to learn about, whether that be through a workshop, a talk, or even overall just the community. Leave a couple seconds. Yes, AI and machine learning. definitely agree. Definitely agree. Yes, a lot of AI. Ooh, yes, I definitely agree. Career advancement, definitely important, especially as we're going through our undergrad and grad careers. Web apps, yes, we have a lot planned for web apps as well. Fundamentals, definitely, definitely. So I'll give a couple more seconds. Comment in the chat what you're most excited to learn about. Yes. I love that. I see a lot of AI machine learning, and I'm really happy to see that you guys are really excited for that. Yes, APIs, definitely. I like that. Yes. Perfect. I loved all the exciting initiatives you guys are talking about in the chat. So now I'll be talking about the Google Cloud Study Jams. So you might be wondering, where do these come in? Well, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be doing them through Google Cloud Study Jams. So there are topics just like AI, machine learning, Kubernetes, Flutter, and more that are happening through these study jams. And we here at DSC, these Google Cloud Study Jams are just going to be 1 hour. Since things are virtual, we cannot really do a workshop that is 4 hours long. But they will be taught by our experienced team here at DSC and or Google developer guests that we bring in. And by participating, you get free access to paid Google Quick Lab credits, which you can use further in advancing your tech careers. So all you have to do is sign up for an upcoming workshop we have here at DSC and attend in order to get that free access. So talking about upcoming events, as well, come out to our next event. So this Tuesday, September 22 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be an internship panel. And at this event, you'll get to hear from students who landed internships at Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and NASA. And this event is completely free, and all majors and years at U of T are free to attend. And the registration link will be sent to the chat by Kamal. So hope to see you at that event. But so now I will be talking about how you can join the DSC. So if you have not been part yet, general admission is basically through our mailing list. So from here, you will be able to stay up to date on upcoming event opportunities and initiatives that we do. Kumal also will be sending the links that I'll be talking about in the chat as well. So if you want to keep up to date on DSC's events and initiatives for the upcoming year, just follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And as well, join our community through our Discord link. So there you can interact with other students, the team, and hear more about all the things surrounding DSC. So throughout the year, we're planning to share a variety of free resources, events, and workshops that help advance all careers. So come join our community here at DSC by using the Discord link sent in the chat as well. So that concludes our info session for today. I hope to see you all at our upcoming events and workshops. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll answer them right now. As well, the whole team will be available on our Discord to answer any questions you may have. So have a great day. Take care. Thank you again for tuning in.
Yeah, happy to answer any questions. Anything about the topics you suggested and upcoming events. So the career, I guess the career readiness or development was a good suggestion. That's why we created the panel discussions. We did a workshop on LinkedIn last week, led by our DSC lead from Labney College, one of your neighboring members. And then this is going to happen next week as well. Then we had 2 in the pipeline. One is going to be how to crack the technical interview. One of our Googlers is going to lead that. And then we're also going to have a session on GitHub. So this session is going to be about how do you prepare your GitHub to, I guess, make it more presentable. So if a technical lead or a technical hiring manager were to look at your profile, what would that look like and how would you go about it? So stay tuned for all those as well.
Sure. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm seeing one now, if you want to highlight it as well. Do we need any prior knowledge or experience to join? So No, you don't. All our workshops, we always say it, you don't need any prior developer experience to be a part. A lot of our workshops right now or starting up in the next couple weeks will definitely be introductory. So all majors and years are free to attend. So yeah, you're free to join no matter what skill level you are at, because we are hoping to provide for any level of experience and also all communities here at U of T. So yeah, no problem. How do you sign up to do projects at DSC UTSG? Oh, sorry. I'm skipping
I can
questions,
answer
so
that.
sorry.
Yeah.
So that's a great question. So we will be doing a project groups info session later on in the year, closer to the end of first semester. This is because the solution challenge is happening in the new semester. So that will be more extensive and give a lot more detail around what project groups are, around the solution challenge, what to expect for it, and how to sign up for it. So definitely stay tuned for that and sign up for our mailing list and also join our Discord so you're always staying up to date. How can
Kathy
first year
asks,
students, Kathy Chen asks, how can first year students get involved in this club? That's a great question. So there are so many initiatives that we have planned for the year, whether that be through a workshop, an event, like a networking event, or even just project groups. Project groups are a great opportunity to get super involved in DSC because you get to apply everything you've learned from our workshops into actual applicable experience and help make a local and impact to a problem that you see and witness as well. So that's definitely one way to really, really get hands deep in the DSC initiatives. So I definitely recommend staying tuned for project groups and signing up for mailing lists and joining us to stay up to date.
I want to give a shout out to Mehmet,
Hey.
who's joining in from Turkey, who's the leader of London College DSC chapter. So he's the gentleman who ran the session with LinkedIn. Check out his video. It's on this channel. Good to see you, Mehmet.
Or for Chloe, but I was wondering how you got an internship after first year. I'm still learning too, but it's definitely networking. So I always talk to Madhusha about this, but I'm always looking for new advice around how to network, especially with professionals in a professional setting. And I'm always seeking opportunities. So whenever I can, I always try to plug in the fact that, hey, I'm always willing to learn. Is there anywhere I can put my hands deep into something? Is there any way I can provide any help? I don't know if Madhusha wants to add on to that.
So I'll give you this tip. I've been to, you probably know what Hack the North is. And then I've been to a few other hackathons. And then all these vendors are there. And then like we have a booth and all the kids come up to and go like, hey, how do I get an internship at Google or whichever the company it is? And I asked them to like tell something about themselves, and they always have the same recipe, right? I was the president of this club, this club, this club, and this. And I need something different, right? Like something. Put your hand out there, take the risk of doing something different. So that makes you stand out, right? Either you build something, or you started a company, or you started a movement or revolution, like and something different. So because you got to understand where we're coming from, because we get pitched on by like hundreds and hundreds of students every day, and we need to see that something that you're passionate about. So and don't do it for the sake of what other people are doing. I know there's this huge startup craze happening right now, so. Do it because you're really passionate about that problem and you really want to solve it, and then show us some progress. Like for me, from being from the other side, I want to see like how you're thinking, because I get the other question I always get from you and DSCs is, could you recommend me for something? And I'm like, okay, you didn't do a single event, you haven't done any of that. So what I always look for is I like to work with people who I can learn from. And if you can teach me something, I think there's something for us to benefit, both of us to benefit from. Then I would highly recommend you to something. And then the only way you can teach me something is if we work together on something, or you invite me to something, and then I end up learning something from that. So those are kind of tips I can give you. I try to stand out a little bit, and sometimes you don't need to do too much, right? It might be a way you thought, or something that you found that you're passionate about. So keep that in mind.
I definitely agree. Like I've noticed like something that really attracts me when I talk to new people is like new ideas, and just like creative ideas as well. So I definitely agree with that.
We got another question.
So Sarthak asks, are these workshops going to be helpful for upper year students, especially those who have internship and research experience? Yes, I think you will gain something out of being a part. So what we have in mind is that a lot of our workshops work in Quick Labs, and not many people actually have experience or even know what Quick Labs is, especially upper years as well. So I think it's definitely something you will gain some skills at, and you'll definitely learn in our next workshop, which to be determined will definitely be a GCP Essentials workshop, but stay in tune for that. But basically, we talk a lot about like certifications that you can actually gain if you complete a number of quests. And those certifications are things that people even past grad school even try to obtain because they are exams. I don't know if like Radusha has more to add to this because like I don't know much
about it. Okay, let me see that I can break this down. So we experimented with a series last term on Android, and then what we realized was that not everybody's at different levels, right? So instead of jumping into different things, like for example, when some of you mentioned, hey, I want to learn machine learning, I want to learn AI. What part of AI do you want to learn? Like it's so broad. So instead of like quickly jumping into a quick lab and throwing some data sets and showing you how to do a model, we want to build some foundation. Now, you might already been exposed to some of those elements. So what we decided to do is when we create this series, we're going to share what the prerequisites are. And then if you need to go back, you'll have content that you can refer back to. And then workshops that you can do on your own pace. We have built classrooms for that. And then slowly build your way up to that gap. And if you happen to have the skills that you think, you can start coding in Python and learn TensorFlow, then we will have those sessions lined up in the future. So we're building those content accordingly. So you're not going to feel like it's not relevant to you. You get to pick and choose when you want to join and what parts you want to join it in. And then the reason we wanted to do the fundamentals is we want to open this up to like some of the first year students and even like kids in high school who are interested in this, but who only know how to use, let's say, data analysis using Excel or a little bit of Python or like using a few of those scripts that are pre-built there. Now they want to build their skill up to it. So the way it's going to work is, so for example, Flutter series is going to kickstart in 1st of October. And you don't need any experience in Dart. You don't need any experience in developing mobile applications, both for Android or iOS. You can jump onto it. If you have a little bit of understanding of object-oriented programming, it can be C#. It can be something else that you worked in the past. You might be a web dev. You want to jump into mobile. This series is going to walk you through from the fundamentals all the way up to advanced, like how to do API calls, to use some of the capabilities on your mobile phones, both iOS and Android, when you're building those applications. So it'll be 8 weeks. You go from 0 to that level. Then also in October, we're going to do in collaboration with all the DSC chapters, we're going to do Google Cloud fundamentals. The reason we want to do the fundamentals is once you do the fundamentals, you can do machine learning workshops on top of that. You can do other things on top of that. You can learn more about Kubernetes. You can learn more about a hybrid cloud between Amazon and Azure and GCP. But the foundation needs to be laid out. So we're working on those. So there'll be 2 weekend sessions that we're going to plan to do. Information is coming out soon. So stay tuned, pay attention to what Chloe and the team is sharing, and then you'll be well informed going forward.
Great question. Great question. If you have any other questions, feel free to put in chat.
If you also, let me see, I don't know, this is a question.
I'm curious, what website? Is it the Quick Labs? I'm guessing it's the Quick Labs.
Okay, there's another, is it a question or if you're interested in, okay, so there's a thing for AI kids. I think that's all the questions we have.
Yes, it's great. Remember, I will plug it again if Kumal can also add it in chat again. Make sure to follow us on social media and sign up for our mailing list, and also join our Discord so you can always stay connected with our community here at DSC. And you can also hear when our upcoming events are, because like Madhusha said, there is so much planned, especially for developer student clubs globally, but also here right at U of T. So make sure to sign up and join our community here at DSC. Thank you again for joining us. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.